welcome to the REC Digital Navigator workshop. So my name is Amy. I work on the communications team for the REC Code Manager, and I will be facilitating today's session. I have joining me today colleagues from across the REC Code Manager team. Now, just to go over a few bits of housekeeping, this session is being recorded, and the recording and slides for the event will be made available on the REC portal next week. If everyone could please keep their microphones and cameras off and less speaking, it would be greatly appreciated. We are using Slido today for you to raise any questions that you may have. So to access Slido, you can scan the QR code that's currently on the screen with your smartphone camera, or you can type the number on screen into slido.com. Alternatively, if you're using the desktop app for Teams, you will be able to see an S at the top of this call where you can click this and access Slido that way. We will have designated Q&A sections, but please feel free to raise your questions as they come to you throughout the session. I will now pass over to Roz to take us through the agenda for today. Thanks, Roz.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning, all. So here on screen is our agenda for today's session. In the next section, we're going to talk to you about the Digital Navigator. Firstly, my colleague Dec is going to talk about the feedback that we received at the previous Digital Navigator session on the 8th of September and how we've responded to that. Then we're going to give you a link to the Digital Navigator itself and ask you to explore it. In terms of timings, this will be the main part of today's session, exploring the Navigator. We'll give you some examples of things you can try out on there, and then you can give us your feedback on how you find using it. Just to flag, the link that we're giving you is to the development site, not the live site. And finally, my colleague Mark is then going to tell you about the next steps, followed by a short Q&A session. So if we move to the next slide.
Yeah, hi everyone. So as Roz said, I'm going to walk you through a bit of the feedback that we got for the last session that we ran. If you can go to the next slide. So to kind of abbreviate all of these, we brought out kind of two main themes of all the kind of positive comments that we got last time. So the first being that the site looks kind of a lot more user-friendly, and the second being it looks cleaner. So this was kind of the entire aim that we were going for. So it's kind of glad that you brought all of them out. We just want to make sure that all of them transfer to you actually using the site and that you find it easier to use. Next slide again, please. So this slide is kind of looking at the functionality and the appearance and the comments that you gave regarding them for the last session. So we split that into three. So we've got appearance, guidance, and then additional functionality. To start for the guidance questions. So as we're going towards actually going live, we're going to be updating all of the guidance documents, and as and when we kind of get a list of these common questions that you're asking, we'll be able to put them into an actual page on the site itself. Appearance wise, I think once you actually see the site, you'll be able to appreciate that we've put kind of a lot of effort into upgrading it from kind of the green view that we had last time. It's kind of a lot of these comments have already been ticked off, and any comments that you have on the kind of appearance at this time will be kind of greatly appreciated. And additional feedback. So the top comment about a message board, we're actually implementing currently a user feedback function. So you'll be able to essentially message us with any feedback that you get as and when you're using it, whether there's an issue with it or whether it's just you like how it's working. Any feedback then will be also greatly appreciated. And the future changes coming, we'll be looking to implement this in kind of a later phase of the Navigator. So for now, kind of what you're going to see is, with the exception of any kind of fixes that we have to make, what you see is kind of what you'll get on the go live on 24th. If you can go to the next slide. So here are just the comments around the kind of data spec side of the tool that we're going to show you. So a lot of the comments either information focused or again guidance focused. To start with the guidance ones, these both are going to be covered both within the guidance documents that are going to be shared. So the use of Control F when you're kind of searching around. We've also implemented two search functions that you can use. So both of these kind of paired together should hopefully tick off both of those guidance points. And the left-hand side, we've actually covered each of these points within the tool that you're going to show. So the local references kind of was a recurring theme across all of the different comments that we were getting. So this has been kind of covered off on all the different pages, and as well as kind of showing the old RGMA codes and all of that, and that the version numbers have also been added in. So the next slide on the schedules side of things. So all of these kind of focused around additional functionality that we were going to add. So the ability to download PDFs. We've actually added in download to Word docs. So then this will cover any changes that you want to raise. You'll be able to raise them directly into the downloads that you can get out of the system. The search functionality for finding any pages that are relevant for your particular role. This is functionality that will be coming for Go Live. It's not currently in right now, but it will be for the 24th. And then the two on the left, we have covered off, as you're going to see in a second. Next slide again, please. I think that takes us into the demo, nice and quick.
Great, thank you, Dec. So in this next section, we're going to give you a link to the Digital Navigator and then ask you to explore it. So I'm just going to paste that link into the chat now. Oh, I see Dec's already got in there before me. Perfect, thanks, Dec. So if you could all head to the meeting chat and follow the link that's in there. And just to confirm, this is the development site, not the live site that will be, so it'll be a different link when it goes live. Has anyone had any issues following the link? No? Okay, I'll take that as positive. So if we move to the next slide. So what we're going to do is, if you followed the link there, you should have the Digital Navigator in your browser, and at the top of the screen, you've got the ability to move between the code schedules and the data specification. Then below that, for each of those, you can move between the dashboard view and a detailed search page. Now, one of our aims in creating the Digital Navigator is to make it more intuitive and easier to navigate. So for this next part of today's session, we're not going to put the Navigator on screen and demo to you how to use it, because we want your genuine feedback on how intuitive you find it to use. So what we have is on screen, we have a list of actions you can trial in the Navigator. And we're using these as an example to provide a structure for this part of the session, but you don't have to do what's listed here. You can go anywhere you like in the Navigator and provide feedback on any aspect you want. In terms of feedback, I'm going to step through each of these example activities in turn and pause after each one to get any feedback you might have. Please do turn your microphones on and speak out to tell us what you think. We'll also be monitoring the meeting chat, so if you'd rather, you can put your feedback in the chat itself, or if you have questions, you can put that in the chat or Slido. So yeah, all feedback very welcome. So let's start with the first one, opening the main body. So I'm just going to give 30 seconds or so for everyone to navigate to the main body. Okay, so hopefully that was nice and easy. Did anyone encounter any issues or find it challenging to find a particular schedule and navigate to there? No? Anything we could do differently to make it easier for you? Okay, excellent. In that case, oh, yes, Mark. I see you've got a hand up there.
Yeah, just a very quick observation. It might just be me being stupid. I've got to it, no problem. And obviously I noticed the next one was about downloading things. So I was half expecting that the 3 horizontal white lines on the top right-hand corner would be an option for things I might want to do, which is quite often what you'd see on a website.
So it's
yeah,
maybe we...
so for now, because we only have kind of the the options from the home screen. So you've got your data spec or your code schedules. In the future, as and when we're adding kind of more things, so like things like change and others, then that's when we'll be showing them in that drop down. So for now, it's just kind of a link to the home page.
Right. Okay.
But we will be adding it in as you would normally see on a website. How you click on it, it opens up a drop down menu, and then you can go about from there.
Yeah. Fine.
Will that be that'll be post go live that we add additional items?
I mean,
to there, will it
we can add it in for go live, but for go live it will only say home. So
okay.
if people want it as a drop down that would just say home, we can add that in. But currently it just takes you straight to home anyway.
Oh, thanks, Mike. We'll take that feedback back and look at whether, until we've got other items to add to that list, whether we should change that to home to make it a bit clearer. Okay, so number 2, downloading the main body in Word. So is it intuitive and easy to do? I'll give you a few seconds, or 30 seconds or so, to trial it and tell us what you think on number 2 in the list. So from my point of view, I feel this one's much easier than under the existing IBM Jazz side of EMAR. So we've sought to use a download symbol that's clear and universally understood and put it in a prominent place on screen. And a deck noted earlier, we had feedback about PDFs, but we've selected Word on the basis that there's more that you can do with a Word document than a PDF. So you can cut and paste and add redline changes if you wanted to with a Word document. So any comments or feedback on the download side of things? I'm just going to check Slido, see if we have comments there. No? Does everyone find it nice and easy to use? Okay, excellent. So next, if in paragraph 1.1 of the main body, there's a reference to another schedule. So can you follow that link and go directly to the interpretation schedule? And you'll notice it opens in a new tab, so you're not going to lose your place in the original schedule that you had open. Okay. Everyone found that easy? Any comments, feedback, things you'd like to see us do differently? Okay, now we're going to move to.
I'll just say it's slow. Mine hasn't opened yet.
Oh, okay. We'll make a note of that. Thanks, Shane. Is everyone else finding it slow?
Yeah, mine was slow, but I thought it was my internet.
Yeah,
So
it's really slow.
Yeah, mine's just open, so I don't know whether it's because we're on the not on production.
Which mine is still trying to open at this stage, which is quite a while now. Yeah,
it's just worth asking, I think, which link you've pushed that's slow. Because some of the documents are much bigger than others, but it's still feedback we want.
Link.
Yeah.
Also, if I recall correctly, that's about 87 pages. The interpretations.
So I've tried a few links now, just on a few tabs, just to see if I could get any of them, and they're all a bit slow actually. I think from like there's one I did in like a 3.3 document. It's going back and forward. It's all a bit slow.
Okay, we'll make a note of that feedback and see what we can do about that. Thank you. Anyone need more time for the opening and following links? We're happy to move to number 4. Okay, so number 4, use the search function to find all instances where energy theft appears. So I'll give you some time to navigate out of the schedule section over to the search page. When you get to that page, you'll see there's an option to filter by schedule, or if you don't want to filter, then all schedules will be searched. And the term we're looking for is energy theft. Yeah. Has everyone had a chance to trial the search function, or is it still being a bit slow?
Mine was really fast for some reason.
Oh, that's good news.
Sorry, Ros, one comment. I think the slowness is because we're kind of trying to load so much data. So I'd say 90% of the site is really, really fast. It's as we're loading the schedules, because we're loading so much data each time, it's currently just running a little slow, but we can try and work out why for the go live.
Oh, great, thank you, Tech. So in terms of how the search results are displayed, are they easy to follow? Do you have all the information you'd like to see? Anything you change about how it works? No? Nice.
Well, Ros, I would just say it's good because it brings up tons of hits, right? Which you'd expect for energy theft.
Mm-hmm.
But and I can see there is categorization in the return bar. I'm just not sure how many people will be able to go through that, or if there's another way of viewing that that's more user friendly, if you know what I mean. So you sort of have, like, if I take the electricity retail data service definition, that appears multiple times because it obviously appears in that document tons of times.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that you're still going to have to go through all of those. But I suppose if your search is more specific, it might be more useful.
You can also, I mean, I don't want to direct you how to use it, but the drop down, if you know specifically what schedule you're searching in, you can select a specific schedule from that filter schedules drop down.
Okay,
so once you've done the overall search and kind of found roughly what schedules the word is that you've got, you can then kind of research with a specific schedule in mind.
Okay.
Oh, Shane, I can see you've added a point on the slide about the download not scrolling down. Are you still having that issue? Is that the Word document itself that's not scrolling?
Yeah, I think that was when I was in the main body link. The download button just stayed at the top of the page. So if I scroll down, I wouldn't see the download anywhere else. It's just at the very top where it says main body. It says download schedules. But if you're scrolling through the schedule, like let's say you go down to section 6 or something, and you say, oh, okay, so this is what I want to download, then you'd need to go all the way back to the top and click download, right?
Oh, so maybe it's like to see the download icon no matter where you are on the page.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's helpful or not. I was just saying what I saw. That's
okay, make a note of that. So for our next testing out the search function, the number 5, find the definition of registered supplier. So there are a couple of different ways of doing this. I'll just give you a minute or so for you to find that definition. So in terms of how you could approach this, you could have gone directly to the interpretation schedule and either scrolled or done Control F to find the definition, or you could use the detailed search tab and filter to search only the interpretation schedule. So how did you find using or searching for a defined term? Was it easy to do? Anything we could do to make it easier for you?
I would say if you use interpretations, it doesn't exist.
Registered supplier?
Correct.
It's not in the interpretations?
I found it, Mark.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. So I might have done it differently to how you've done it. So I searched first on all schedules and searched registered supplier, search, got loads. And then you mentioned about going into interpretations. So I then went to the drop down list selected interpretations, press search again, and it doesn't find anything.
Strange. Okay, I'll make a note of that and we can test that.
I searched on the interpretations schedule and typed in registered supplier, and then I got a number of hits, but I have to scroll down to get the actual definition one.
Yes, because it appears in the definition of others, doesn't it?
Yes. Another visual thing that that I've noticed is on the actual detailed search page. So I'm finding the text is really quite big. So I've reduced the screen size, but when in doing that to a size that's comfortable for me, the actual box where you type in the search term, the text is far too small. So it doesn't seem to, the font size seems to be different.
Okay, we'll make a note of that and see if we can reduce that font size, because I think it also is affected by which size of screen you're looking at. Is that correct, Dick?
I'm not sure what the comment is. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's some people are finding the font size rather large.
Okay, yeah, we can change that. That's fine.
Yeah, but when I reduce it, it's just the font size and the search box font size. They don't seem to be the same size. So the search box size seems to be very small as well in comparison to the other font sizes.
Okay, yeah, we can make them match. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Would you rather have them both bigger or both smaller?
Yeah, I suppose if you do it bigger, you can choose the zoom on your screen,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, it's supposed to be, just a thought, isn't it supposed to be 12 font minimum these days?
All the fonts, so the font in the search box is 12. The other fonts, the minimum is 16.
Yeah, it's probably the 16 that's making some of it look big then.
Yeah, that's right.
Should we reduce that 16 down?
I tend to agree with the lady earlier. I think if it can be standardized, that would be great, because then people can decide for themselves whether they want it bigger or smaller.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, across your different browser.
Yeah.
Because when I minimise the big font, then the one that's set at 12, that minimises, and then that's too small, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take that as a way to look at reducing it down from 16. Okay, so now we've got number 6. Find the table that sets out the resolution process for erroneous switches. So for this one, I've picked a process. So let's assume you need to find the legal text for a particular process. In this case, I'm going to give you the schedule. So it's schedule 30. It's a hint on that one. So I'll give you a few minutes to find that process.
Is anyone else finding the site is really quite unresponsive, taking multiple clicks to move between screens?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. So you're having to click the same thing multiple times.
Yeah, I'm currently on, I think, the 3rd or 4th click of code schedules.
Could you try just clicking it once and waiting?
Yeah.
I just wonder if you're initiating 4 queries.
Yeah,
I know it's a pain, but
Which code schedules button are you clicking?
So you can flick between data specification and code schedules, and it just doesn't seem to be flicking over. I'll just reload the page.
They should be instant, so I don't know why that one's going slow.
having found what you're asking us to find, one thing I did note, because I went to the relevant schedules and then went down to 30 and then was looking for erroneous switches.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the document structure on down the left-hand side. So it says section 1, general obligation, section 2, erroneous switches, and then underneath it's got the subsections. You can't click on erroneous switches to go to section B. You have to click on one of the subsections.
Oh, okay. I'll make a note of that. So the sort of the upper header level you can't click on.
Yeah. So if I click on, the thing is, if I then click on section B, part 1, which is description of the problem, it scrolls down so far on the screen that the actual heading, which is section B, erroneous switches, is off the top of the screen. So for all I know, I'm not looking at the right thing, other than it says erroneous switches in the first sentence. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Let's writing that down. So any other feedback on navigating to a particular pace in legal text?
Ross, I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, but when I get to that section for the resolution process, and then there's a scroll bar on the far right-hand side, if I'm trying to use that, that's really slow, and now all of a sudden it's working.
Oh, is it sort of caught up with itself and gone really quick?
I think so. Maybe that's what it was. But when I first started scrolling down, it just wouldn't move at all. It was like it was frozen.
I get the same. When you scroll down, it then appears blank for a while until it catches up with itself, and then the words come back up.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll add that to the list around the speed.
The other thing that I noticed was in the detailed search. So when you've got the list of schedules, you've got the schedule names, but you don't actually have like the schedule number.
Okay, we'll get that. Schedule names with number. So that's in the detailed search, was it?
Yes, it was dropped down.
Okay, excellent.
Another thing, but I don't know if this is more connected to the font size, but the tables on this schedule that we're looking at, they're kind of like falling off the page. Just maybe the lines could be in between these tables. Like you have to scroll down a lot. It might just be my screen, but it's just the table isn't very clear, or it's not transferring very clear on my page.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. We'll see what we can do about that. Okay, and then our last one on the schedule side of things, find the process for establishing additional electricity import/export metering points. So in this instance, I'm not giving you the schedule number to make that slightly bit harder. So how would you find a process that you want to know about within the rec legal text, and does the navigator make it easy for you? So I'll give you a minute or two to work on that one.
I tried doing a search and it's come up with an application error.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Application error, client-side exception has occurred. See browser console for more information.
What did you type in? Sorry, out of curiosity.
Electricity import-export metering points. Complete with the backslash in the middle.
Okay. Right, I'll look into that. Thank you.
I typed in electricity import and I'm getting no results. I'm just getting the green headers at the bottom, but nothing populated beneath it.
Did you put it in quick?
There's nothing that says electricity imports in any of the schedules.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's just not a term that exists in rec.
Okay. It's not an existing term at all. The second half of it is.
Yep, I found something now.
Okay, so any feedback on, not specifically just this scenario, but in terms of if you want to find something in the rec and you know what it's called, how you find it within the navigator?
I think it makes sense to me, Roz. It seems to be working well from my side, apart from the delay when you land on the schedule and you're just waiting for the ability to scroll through it. That's about it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Just to let you know, on that issue I got with the application error, I tried just searching for import space export and it found nothing. If I put import/export, as in your slide, but with no spaces, that causes the error. So it doesn't appear to like the slash character in there.
That's fine.
Okay,
we
can
change that around. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
The only other general comment, and it may just be me, but it does bug me, is your you use the spinning when it's waiting. You've got that spinning symbol.
Yeah.
But it's not round. It's not moving in a circle.
It is moving in a circle. There's just a dot on it.
No, it's off center, so it looks like a flat tire or something. It wobbles left to right or something.
I didn't see that.
When you look at it, when you look at it and it's spinning off like that, it just looks. It may be a personal thing. I just don't like the look of it, because when you expect to see something spinning with like a pointer out of it, you'd expect the circle to be staying as a circle in the same position, just with like the arm going round on a clock.
Yeah, no, I agree with Mark. It does have a bit of a wobble when it's spinning, but I'm not. Hopefully, we won't be seeing it that often, I suppose.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just maybe my eyes or something, but seeing that, doing that, is just.
I don't know whether it's an optical illusion almost.
Don't know.
Whatever it is weird. I do agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's not just me then. Good. You're not the only weird one on the call.
We'll see what we can do about the wobble.
Yeah.
So that was the last of our schedules side. Before we move on to the data specifications, anyone have any other general feedback about the schedules in terms of usability, appearance, functionality?
You don't seem to be able to zoom in and zoom out using the browser zoom functions. I'm using Chrome. Should you be able to? So
it's working on Edge.
You can. It's working on my Chrome. If you press Control and then use the middle of your scroll mouse, does that work?
Yeah, I know how to zoom in and out. It's just not doing it.
I'm using.
Could it be a speed thing?
No, I mean, I'm using Zoom on Chrome, but I'm using the zoom from the 3 dots on the top right, and then just clicking plus and minus, and that seems to enlarge stuff and shrink stuff quite happily.
I do wonder if I've just got some connectivity problems today then.
We'll test it in Chrome and just see if we can repeat the error.
And then, Roz, I suppose that's just another question. Is there going to be a certain browser type that's going to be recommended for all of this, or should it be compatible with all browser types?
It is compatible with all modern browsers.
Okay.
Or at least it should be.
Yeah. No, it's just the definition of modern, I suppose, for some organizations can be trickier.
Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer.
Okay, fair enough. Cheers.
Right, so let's move on to the data specification. So there should be a link at the top of the screen you can click on to move on to the data specification side of the site. And our first scenario is making use of a new filter function that we've introduced. So find all market messages sent from electricity suppliers to distributors. You might notice when you go through the list of filter options that we have electricity supplier, gas supplier, energy supplier. So energy suppliers covering the dual fuel flows to the switching service. So as part of testing this, is it clear and easy to use in terms of how we group the market participant types? Any feedback on that side of it as well? So how is everyone finding the filtering options?
I've done it, but it wasn't obvious that you'd type in all to get all of the messages.
What could we have done differently to make it a bit more obvious?
Just where it says enter text or all to see all.
You
Yeah.
don't have to type in all to see them.
If you don't have anything in there, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
It
that's
does.
true.
If you scroll down, it shows them all.
I mean, I just clicked on the left-hand bottom left and said from electricity suppliers, and bottom right from distribution network operators, and it came up with a list.
Yeah, that's true. I think you need to scroll down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you're supposed to just scroll down at that point. I was still thinking I needed to put some text in.
Yeah.
So we can make that a little bit more clearer, so it you can see the results from the top of the screen.
So our next one, using the search function here, so find all CSS market messages. And I'll give you a minute to trial that one. So in terms of how to approach this, you could have typed CSS in the search field, and it should have brought up every data market message with CSS in the title. How was it? Did you find it easy? Was there anything we could have done differently to make it easier for you?
Roz, hi, it's Paul and Doris here. I'm a bit late to the party here. I'm sort of I'm going from a complete novice part. When you just said that, I actually typed in CSS market messages and it produces an error. So is it not intelligent enough to sort of look for the CSS bit, because it literally came up when I typed CSS market messages and it just said there's been an error with your market message search. So I worry that, does it have to be specific? So you just put CSS, or else it would just throw out the search?
So the way that the search function currently works is it will search the IDs, the local catalog references, the market message name, the from supplier and the to supplier, and if it doesn't find anything in any of them, it comes up with an error for the kind of full term that you're searching for.
Okay, so yes, I just type CSS messages and it comes up with an error as well. So it has to just have the CSS.
Yeah. Can I say that message is completely misleading and will be confusing to users? There's not an error with your search. It's just your search has not found anything.
Yeah, but
Okay,
I'll make a note and we'll get that changed.
Yeah.
You know, saying there's an error, that implies the system's going wrong, or, you know, whereas if you say no results found, that's what you expect when you do a search for something that's not existent. Or,
okay, yeah, that's fine.
Thanks.
Okay, our next one, find the...
Go with just want to, with that in the search function, could you make it clearer that you need to put in specific words, or have the search function such that it can ask for keywords or phrases as in the search function?
Yeah, so put something like use keywords or phrases.
Yeah.
Keywords or... Okay, I'll make a note of that. Okay, so our next one, can you find the structure of the D10 flow? Any feedback on this one?
It sense to me, Rose.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think the only thing that people won't understand to start with is that if you search for D10, obviously it tells you the data items, then it tells you all the scenario variants. But to actually see the structure, you've got to go to one of the variants.
Okay. So maybe look at how we can make navigation more clearer.
Because obviously, if you know, I know people will compare back to what they used to, which is the old DTC. You know, when you use that online and you found a D10 was a D10 and you found it. So yeah, if you can make it clear that that's what they need to do.
Potentially something we can add into the guidance for going forward.
Yeah, we can do that.
So one thing I'm looking at is having got to a D10. So I've now picked variant 290, which is one of them, SV290, market message 257. There doesn't appear to be an option on the screen to actually get that downloaded.
That's true.
Yeah. So that means our next step, number 4, is not going to work so well. Download the D10.
Yeah, and
so
also
the download for that. Sorry, the download for that is at a market message level. We can change it and update it so it's at a scenario variant level if that would be easier.
Well, let's go back and so I'm now back at so I'm now back at the market message level. Okay, so let me just download that and see what it looks like and just see
if it gives it somewhere.
If it gives what I would hope to see. Put that in there. So notice on the notes page of that market message, there seems to be a lot of garbage.
So extra information that's not required there.
Well, even some of the symbols look really weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you pull it up on the screen, you've got things has been populated with the value, and then it's a whole string of weird and wonderful characters. Open brackets, old supplier, load of weird and wonderful accented characters, estimated cost read, close bracket.
Okay, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah,
coding, sure.
And then it's got things like either initial and or final, and they are double. The word initial and final are both double quoted. Reading type is double quoted.
Sounds like we need to look into what's happened there.
Yeah, okay, I've just looked at the Word document.
Doesn't show you the variants, I'm guessing.
It tells you what the variants are, and then it just shows you what the structure is. But what there is at the top of the very top of the document, I've got an open curly bracket, open square bracket, pound, dollar, percent, double quote, close square bracket, close curly bracket, and I've got the same at the end of the document. So I don't know what that's meant to be.
That was part of the that was part of the loading into the IBM solution that you've all been using so far. They can be taken out for when we go live though.
Okay.
Well, thank you. We'll take that one as an action to fix those. Okay, so our next one, find which market messages the meter type data item appears in. I'll give you a minute for that one. So in this one, you could use the search and click on data item to search the data items, and it should give you a nice list there of where to find this item, which are. Any comments or feedback on this one?
Would it be nice to be able to search it on any of the categories, even market message, like to know what market messages have meter type in them? It's more just a question out there that you have to go to data item to see what data item has meter type mentioned in it, rather than what market messages have meter type in their data options. If it was broader.
We could do a deck. Is it possible to have an all button for the search that would cover scenarios, data items, and messages?
We could, but I don't think that's what is being asked.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Is it more you'd want to be able to search in that main search box, search for that specific data item, and it would bring you back a market message that contains that data item?
Yeah. The only reason I ask is actually because this one has come up recently for me, and market type, and it's knowing what data flows even just have, or market messages, I should say, have meter type as a data item in it, is handy, rather than just going to the data type and seeing, oh, there's a data type called market type or meter type. It opens up more options.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so at the moment you then have to search through. So because when you get the landing page, it goes straight to market message. If you then type in meter type and search, it just says that obviously it's not bringing anything back, right? Because of the way the search function works. And then you'd have to intuitively understand that you've got to click on either scenario variant or data item to search again.
Okay, we can look at whether we can streamline that and make it easier to do that. I can see we've got an anonymous comment in Slido. So it says, just from the previous section, I cannot see a required section in the message flow breakdown. Not sure if I'm missing this, i.e. what sections are mandatory. So if you go, this is similar to the IBM Jazz side of EMAR. It's got zeros and ones. So ones indicate mandatory and 0 indicate optional. So hopefully you can see those there if you navigate to one of the sort of flow structure tables.
One of the variants, yeah.
Yeah.
I've also just spotted something on the meter type. Unless I've missed it in the text, there is something very important missing from the notes.
Okay, what's that?
If you look at the meter type and it's got the enumerations, and there are 3 there that are listed as lag underscore lead underscore main underscore. If you look at the DTC, it tells you that the underscore is to indicate a space.
Okay, so we need to get that comment in.
Yeah, because an underscore character is not allowed. So if somebody was using this to work from scratch, they may actually put those as underscores in their validation or in their transmission list.
Oh, thank you for flagging that. We'll get that corrected. Okay, so we've got just under 10 minutes left, so I'm going to suggest we do one more scenario, then talk about the next steps. So I'm going to go for number 7, download the gas data access matrix. So how easy is it for you to find this matrix within the navigator? Just give you a minute or so for that one. So that's on the data specification dashboard. Hopefully you're able to locate that. Any comments or feedback about finding documents through that dashboard?
So where are you searching for that?
So if you, okay, so it's not that. So if you pick data specification, then dashboard,
right,
and we've got various tables there, and it's in the one called data access matrices.
Right, okay, yeah.
Is there something we could have done to make that a bit simpler to find?
One thing
you
that
should
comes
be
up,
able to search for it. There's no way for you to key it in and do a search for it to direct you to that area within the dashboard.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
The other thing is that I find when you're on these tables that are just off the dashboard, if I wanted to just press the rec button to go back to the home screen, it sometimes works on other pages, but it doesn't work for, just say I was on the data specification, the search filter, and if I wanted to go back to the dashboard, I have to scroll up to the top and press the dashboard, rather than if I just was way down lower in the screen, all I'd want to do is press the rec logo in the corner, and that take me back home each time, but it doesn't seem to do that.
If we were to make the dashboard and the detailed search buttons sticky, so they like followed you down the page, similar to how the code schedules does, would that work for you?
Yeah, something so that I don't have to scroll up.
Scroll to the top. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can change that.
Yeah. Just a comment on that gas data access matrix. Obviously, I'm on the right page now, and I can see the data access matrices. Why, when I click on it, does it download it and not open it?
It's because it's an Excel file with multiple tabs.
And
I suppose we could. I'll refer to yourself for that. I think we've felt it would be easier for people to have.
Currently, how it is in the existing solution, so that's just what we've followed through with.
In that case, can there be something on the screen so that people realise that it's actually downloading? Because I didn't.
Okay.
So I clicked on it, and a little thing popped up, which you don't necessarily see on the bottom of your screen, to indicate that the file's downloading. And you see nothing happen, so you click again, and all of a sudden you realise you downloaded it 3 times. And I can imagine people doing that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll look at how we can make that clearer. So I'm going to end this section now.
Sorry, I just want to comment there that I'm using Edge, and it opens it without downloading, and it gives it a button comes up with the option to say we've opened this to view, and you've got the option to download, so you can view it in the web page without it downloading, and then you can download it, so working as expected, I think.
It must be user settings, because I'm also using Edge, but mine's came up with the downloads at the top right corner.
Yeah, I've got it so that it opens in Excel without it as a web page, and then you've got the option to download.
I'm just going to try an Edge and see what I get, because I was using Chrome.
Right.
Okay. While you're trying that, I'm just going to hand over. Oh, sorry. So we've got 5 minutes left. I was going to hand over to my colleague Mark to talk about the next step. So thank you very much for all the feedback on this side of it. Feel free to keep adding comments into the chat if you spot other things. And I shall, if we scroll. Oh, sorry. We do have a Slido question next, but actually should we just move straight to the next steps? Because I think we've had a lot of feedback about what we can do to improve this. If I hand over to yourself, Mark, for next steps.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ros. So great to get all this feedback from you all. So firstly, a great apology for everyone. Great thank you for everyone coming. And I think this really proves, doesn't it, that if we release this stuff to you and you have a proper play, we can find out lots and lots. There's been a team looking at this for many weeks and trying to work through the different scenarios, but you really can't beat those sort of real use cases. So thank you very, very much for that. So in terms of the next steps, we're going to collate all this feedback we've got. We're going to see what we can get into place ready for go live. I think some of these things are quite simple to fix, so we'll crack on with those. Others are a bit more meaty and need a bit more attention, but we'll prioritize those as well. And we will sort of iterate the release as we go forward. But again, really great to get all this feedback, and we welcome that on an ongoing basis, really. We've socialized this functionality a few times with different groups of people, and it's great to see some of those people coming back again to this session. So yeah, hopefully you can sort of see that we're progressing with this, and we're very keen that it becomes a much easier
portal to use and the new IBM platform that we've been using previously. And yeah, that's really great. What we quite like to do is leave the site up for the day, and what we'll do is we'll send out an email address for you to keep sending feedback in if you have some time throughout the day. But we'll absolutely take these things on board and start working on them ready for go live in a couple of weeks. So yeah, watch this space for news about that and the things that we've amended in time for go live. Ros, was there anything else that we should cover on the next steps?
So we did have a next slide that's sort of put into, it's basically a visual of what you spoke about. So we're going to go live on the 24th of October, then seek further feedback at that point, review it and come up with a future design plan by around December. And what that future design will look like will be led by that feedback, and there'll be dual running of the existing IBM Jazz tool within EMAR and the Digital Navigator itself. So we did have another Slido, but we've only got 2 minutes to go. So what I'll do is we go straight to the final one. And what we'll do is we'll share with you. Mark, are you able to paste the email address for feedback into the chat? I'll share that here, and we're going to. That'd be great.
Yeah. Can we use the technical inquiries one? Is that okay? That'd
be great.
Yeah.
Do that. So if you have any feedback on this session itself, you can find it through the link on Slido here. We'll keep the Navigator site running on that link for the rest of the day. So feel free to go around, play with it as much as you like, and send all your feedback back to the technical inquiries mailbox, and we'll paste that in the chat here. So thank you very much. It's been really useful getting all your feedback. And I can see Mark's just popped that email address in the chat for us. Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Just a final one from me. We have set up a survey for feedback on how useful you found today's session, and this is in Slido, so you should be able to see this on your phones. If you could take a minute just to let us know any feedback that you have on the session itself, that would be really useful. Thank you.